Welcome to the sneakiest of all video series. In this video, we are going to explain exactly how Torkoal can do, I wasn't kidding about this, over 13 Hyper Beams worth of damage in a single turn. And what's more, when I'm done explaining how it works, I'm going to show you a ranked Pokemon battle in which I actually go through the strategy and use it to wipe out an entire enemy team. It is ridiculous. Here we go. The core of this strategy revolves around Torkoal using Eruption. Now, Eruption is a Fire-type move that will do less damage the less health you have. However, Torkoal is going to be in Trick Room and going first, so Torkoal will have maximum health, and Eruption will be doing 150 damage. We'll also have Heat Wave as a backup plan, just in case they have a priority-type attack. Now, Torkoal will have the ability Drought, which is not even a hidden ability. You can super easily get a Torkoal with the ability Drought. And holding the item Choice Specs, which you can just buy in various stores in the Pokemon world. This will have a huge effect on the damage that Torkoal will do, and let me show you this cute little infographic to explain. With a base power of 150, Eruption is a massively powerful attack. We are also going to have Torkoal, who is a Fire-type, terrestrialize into a Fire-type, making the attack actually do double stab damage for 300 base power instead of 150. In the Sunlight, we will have 450 due to the Sunlight's multiplier of Fire-type moves, and with Choice Specs we'll get an additional 1.5, and we are now at 675 damage. But if that wasn't ridiculous enough, we have a way to make the damage even higher. Say hello to Torkoal's partner in crime, the Oranguru. Oranguru has this magical move called Instruct. And Instruct has the effect of telling the last Pokemon that you click on to use their move again. So Oranguru is going to use Instruct on Torkoal and tell Torkoal to use Eruption again. To be completely clear on what's happening, Torkoal is going to use Eruption twice in a single turn. And ideally with Trick Room, because Torkoal is so very slow, this will happen before anyone can do anything. This will up the damage to a whopping 1,350. That number should not exist in Pokemon. That is not a Pokemon damage number. However, it gets even crazier. You have to consider that this is the damage Torkoal would do if there were only one target enemy. But there are two, and Eruption hits them both. Because there are two enemies, there are two things that are going to happen to this damage number. First of all, it will get reduced by 0.75 times, because after all, we are spreading the damage out over two enemies, so it will get reduced a little bit. But second, you have to remember that we're damaging two enemies. So overall, this means that we're going to deal a total damage of 2,025 damage to the total of our opponent's Pokemon, or about 1,012 to each individual Pokemon. That is ridiculous, and we're doing all of that in a single turn. If you do the math, this comes out to a little more than 13 Hyper Beams. We'll be doing more than 13 Hyper Beams worth of damage in a single turn, and that is crazy. But enough of me talking about how crazy this damage is. Let's watch a video of me using this strategy to wipe out an entire team in Ranked, and I'll even put the rental code for the team I'm using at the end of the video. Here we go. Alright, so I was taking a look at this team, and I realized immediately that it's very, very obvious that I'm running a Trick Room set. They've got Murkrow. We're probably not going to see Murkrow. If they bring out Murkrow here, it just means that the Trick Room team is going to have a very good time, because Murkrow sets up Tailwind. Tailwind makes you go faster. That is not helpful against a Trick Room team. I want to start Mimikyu and Lucario here, and put my Torkoal and Oranguru in the back. The reason is I kind of predicted that they would lead to some things that I could be super effective against with those two. And also, I wanted to set up Trick Room before bringing in the Torkoal and Oranguru so that I could immediately go into the massive Eruption strategy that we just talked about. Now I'm going to dive right in here, and by the way, this was streamed on Twitch. I was just doing a bunch of ranked matches and decided to try the Torkoal team for a little bit. So we're going to lead here with the Lucario and the Mimikyu, and the Mimikyu is actually our Trick Room setter. We want the Mimikyu to put up Trick Room, and then ideally we want to switch into the Torkoal and the Oranguru at the same time if we can. right around here, I'm trying to figure out the best way to go about this. I can attack the Garchomp with Play Rough, which would be doubly super effective, unless, of course, it terrestrializes or something. But I think going for Trick Room is just a better option overall. I do decide to go for the Trick Room, because after all, if I'm super speedy, then I can just, well, super speedy. In Trick Room, super slow is super speedy, so it's a little confusing, but if I'm moving before the Garchomp, I can just hit it next turn, no problem. I'm not worried, I did actually decide to make Lucario go after the Garchomp with Ice Punch, just in case, just to see what it might do. The reason is that I was kind of hoping that the Annihilate on the opposing team would use Final Gambit on my Lucario and take us both out. They decided not to do that, so Lucario's job at this point is just to look like an easy target and die. I was trying to kind of trick them into defeating my Lucario as quickly as possible. I got my Trick Room up. I was debating whether or not to go for like a Ghost Terrestrialize to do big damage to the Annihilate or something. In the end, I decided to just kind of do a little bit of damage around the board. And my hope here was that I could get both Mimikyu and Lucario knocked out around the same time, and then bring in the Torkoal while Trick Room is active. That was kind of the best case scenario that I was going for. Because Lucario was Choice Scarfed on this set, I did have to keep going for Ice Punch, even though I didn't exactly want to go for Ice Punch, but that's kind of how the Choice Scarf works. I don't love Lucario on this set, by the way. If I was going to do this again, I might not bring in the Lucario with the Choice Scarf, but this is a rental set. That's, I think, on the VGC website. I'll share the code at the end of the video if you want to try this set. So I did do a little bit of damage with Sneak Attack, but that's okay. It really didn't matter. The whole point was just to get Earthquaked. Like, the whole point of all this was Garchomp Earthquakes me. Oh, and Garchomp turned into Terrafire, by the way, if you noticed that. That means that Garchomp will actually resist Eruption. We'll see if that actually matters. Remember all those damage numbers I was showing you? In any case, it worked perfectly. Both my Pokemon got knocked out, which was exactly what I wanted. My opponent probably thought they were winning, they were sweeping, but this is where we get to laugh a little bit, because this is exactly what I wanted to happen. I brought out the Torkoal and the Oranguru, I put out the Sunlight, and their Garchomp is a Fire Garchomp at full health. But it's not gonna last. It's not gonna last under this. I immediately go for Eruption and Instruct. And just watch the oodles of damage that is going to pour out from this. It's insane. Just watch. Here come the oodles of damage. The oodles are on their way. As soon as Pokemon decides that it's finished calculating. Come on, Pokemon. Get to the oodles. Get to the oodles. Alright, here we go. So I obviously go for Terra-type Fire. Don't forget to Terrestrialize. That's important. It's a really good defensive bonus these days, but in this strategy I show the power of offensive Terra-Fire. Alright, so now that we've got Terra-Fire, Sun, Choice Specs, we've got everything we need, Garchomp protects. That's fine. We don't care. We're not going to hit it this turn. We'll hit its ally. It's protecting, so it's not going to attack us. It's not going to stop this strategy from working. Eruption goes down. That's an incoming. We did the math. Remember, over 1,000 damage on that Annihilate. We annihilated the Annihilate. It wasn't going to survive this. And then I instruct Torkoal to do it again, but Garchomp is still protecting, so it's not going to hit. And I think we can just skip to the next turn. Alright, so it's the next turn. I once again used Eruption and Instruct. Exact same thing. And their Mousehold uses Follow Me, but I don't care. This is a spread move. It will hit both Pokemon, even if somebody uses Follow Me. Boom, damage coming out. Glorious, glorious fire. The strength of 13 Hyper Beams. The Garchomp actually, it one-shots the Mousehold, that's just deleted. The Garchomp actually managed to survive the first eruption because it was Terra-type Fire, and that makes it not very effective. But we don't care. We get a second eruption. It's not surviving that. This is a 100% accuracy move, and it can crit. But it doesn't need to. The Garchomp was deleted. We just took out a Pokemon who's resistant to fire with fire before they could even do anything. There was just absolutely no hope for that Garchomp. Alright, so they've only got one Pokemon left, and if you remember how spread moves work, this means that we're going to be doing the bigger damage number now. We're going to be doing the 1,000 350 damage number on this Hydreigon. Once again, click Eruption, click Instruct. It's so easy. Even you could do it. Why don't you do it? Have fun and go destroy teams with this amazing strategy. Last Pokemon was resistant to fire. It one-shot it anyway because there was only one target and it just deleted it. Alright, so if you want to do this yourself, here's the code I'm using, here's the rental team, it should still be up at the time of posting this video. You can also make this team, there are tons of guides online. Have fun, enjoy, this has been the Sneaky Dragon signing out.